Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 127. It's Iliya here, and as always I'm super grateful to have you on the channel. And as you know, in this video we're gonna have a look at the market, how it developed this week, what opportunities did we have, and what we can potentially expect for the upcoming week. So if there is one word to describe this week, but I would say actually the entire month for me, it is break even. And maybe partials, because I did take some partials and then the remaining actually hit break even. The first 2 weeks of the month were actually amazing, but then I was really lacking focus doing other stuff as well, working on projects, and I really couldn't capitalize on those first 2 weeks. And then actually the past 2 weeks were also pretty sloppy. Actually, the previous one was a small loss. This one is a break even, and it's not amazing, but let's look at it from the positive side. So pretty much when you lose or when you do not perform as good as you want you to do, you're basically putting in the work and you are improving. You find new ways on how to improve your mindset, your psychology, your focus, your mental resilience, and all of that stuff. So do not beat yourself, guys. Just seek for ways how to improve. Just sit on your chart, see, okay, cool, well, if I miss that trade, how can I catch it next time? Okay. What I also adapted to myself was trading more from the phone. So I calculated my lot sizes to know, for example, if I have a 3-pip stop loss, what my lot size should be. So find ways, all right? Because this is how you improve as a trader. And if you really want to make it, then there is definitely no excuses, all right? So enough of my ramble. I really hope you guys had an amazing week and a profitable one. I had a couple of you guys telling me in the comments that you also had some losers in November and it's been tough. Yes, I can totally vouch for that. But of course, we had some amazing moves, especially on the JPYs this week. So I really hope some of you managed to capitalize. If you're new on this channel, it's all about trading. I share these weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, and once per week I'm giving my best to share an educational piece of content or a trading setups breakdown video. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell in order not to miss all the future updates that are incoming. And before we start, I want to mention that I also trade some crypto, and I do it with Forex.com. It is a great broker with great spread and commissions, but they also have a 0 commission account. However, I chose their eco account. So you're going to be paying some commissions right there, but every lot that you trade, the commission of that goes towards planting 10 trees. And I really think this is an amazing initiative to support the environment, and it's the first actually to announce this. So make sure to check them out. Link is down in the description. And if you already did, let's get straight into the video. All right, let's have a look at the Dixie, a very interesting situation right now. By the way, before we start, I hope you have guys checked my giveaway initiative. If you haven't, I'm gonna leave a card right now. Make sure to check it out, all right? So pretty much the DXY has been in an uptrend for 4 consecutive weeks to the upside. And this is the first weekly candle that is closing as a, I would say, long-legged doji, or even the gravestone one or the other one. You guys don't need those candle formations, to be honest. You just need to know, okay, what is happening? So what does that wick tell me? Well, it tells me that there was a time that the market was very strongly pushing up. It was looking really bullish at a time, but then it seems that it tapped something on the left right there and really sharply reversed to the downside. So a lot of sellers entered into the market. What does that signify? Rejection from the upside, meaning that potentially there are some sellers incoming. So if you remember, I've been calling this level right there. Let me just drop it with EQ like this. This whole range right there. And what is this one? Well, pretty much if you have a look at what caused a break of structure, it's this guy right there. We had a push, we had a pullback, lower high, and then a massive drop to the downside that caused this break of structure. All right. So pretty much the market right now has pulled back. Did we tap 97? Okay, well, almost tapped a very round number as well. And currently we're rejecting. So if we zoom in right now on this price action, we definitely do have a range which starts from the low to the high. And how I trade, what I usually expect is after high is created, after we tap into a level on the left, right, we expect the market to pull back towards the 50% or even lower. Okay. Currently, I do see potentially this. Let me maybe drop it with a ray as a potential retest area, because it's like a push, we pulled back and then we pushed higher, which is possibly going to be seen better on the daily. You can see the push, we created a higher low, and then we very sharply exited outside. Okay, so what again is the structure that broke the Okay, what is the higher low that broke the last higher high? Well, it's pretty much this one right here, because we had this push, this one that was not the break, then we created another higher low, and then we very sharply exited outside of that zone right there. So yeah, pretty much for me, I would even take it like this. Oops, not this one, like a whole zone like that. We can also mark it as demand. So pretty much this is a potential level that we can target to the downside on the DXY. However, we have a little problem right now. So let's examine. Well, pretty much, as you can see, as the market is pushing up, the market does not just push up like this on the weekly. It is a sharp push to the upside. This is actually a video that I want to make for you guys because you always confuse major and minor structure. So there is a little hint. On the weekly, you have this push. This is your major structure, okay? But then it dropped on the daily. We see this. Let's just copy it. We see this, bigger pullback, this, and right now we're pulling back, right? This is exactly what we see on the daily. And if we drop on the 4-hourly, we're going to be seeing possibly much more uptrend structure like this. Okay, this line was really shitty, but you get the point. But our major structure right now is from this low to this high identified on the weekly. However, there are levels in between. And what I see right now is that there is the first level of demand, which was a higher low formation that the market is currently reacting from. So in order for us to turn into a bearish market, which is actually a pullback, we need to actually fail to make a new higher high, create the MSS formation that I teach in the free market structure course. Make sure to check that out. And then to potentially actually break demand. Okay, and this is where we're really going to be introducing the sellers. Let's examine the 4-hourly, because the 4-hourly is going to give us even more hints. Okay, look at the 4-hourly. What did I tell you? We have a beautiful uptrending structure, a lot of higher lows, a lot of higher highs. Let's zoom in. So where is the last clearly visible higher low? Well, it's this kind of range. We very sharply initiated outside. We created a higher high, which created demand. Okay, what happened? What exactly I told you that I want to see happen on the daily? We had the market pull back, higher low, failure to make a new higher high, boom, shuffle, right? And so pretty much on the 4-hourly right now, we can already see the shift, which is, again, I really don't want to do this, guys, because we are very bullish on the DXY. Also, the fundamentals are supporting the bullishness. But again, technicals, we definitely need to pull back a little bit. We have to fill in some empty space right there. We have to pull back to the mean value of price because it's been pushing up for quite some time and it has to correct. You can see, you just zoom out. If you see the market pushing for some time, correct. Pushing for some time, correct. When right now we've been pushing for some time without a correction. So definitely a correction is on the cards. So, but again, it's not 100% for me yet. But what I see is potentially this as a lower high formation right now, which is not very precise. Okay, but we actually broke the last higher low right there on the 4-hourly. Let's mark it as a structure break. And right now, potentially, guys, we're respecting this daily demand. And then the big question is for me, are we gonna right now pull back to create a lower high formation? So then we can take a sell. And then potentially first target for me will be this zone, which is pretty much at the 50%. And then if this one fails, I'm also gonna be targeting this daily zone and potentially this level that we identified from the weekly and the daily, okay? So I just build a story. I'm not giving you a bias. I'm not telling you go short. I'm telling you what the market is doing right now, what is the story that it's telling, and what we can potentially expect, okay? If we always search for an alternative, well, we can have an immediate push down to break this structure. If this happens, very cool. What we're going to be looking for is for a pullback, lower high, and a continuation down. And of course, the third but unlikely scenario for me is just to skyrocket to the upside. All right, but the stocks I also spotted are starting to decline, and I do think we're going to be entering into the end of month correction, maybe some sell-off, and then potentially we can also start the next monthly candle with a little bit of bearishness on the DXY. So I do think some sellers could be on the cards. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna end this DXY analysis. I'm looking for some shorts. We have a lot of introduction of sellers right now, a break of structure. The daily is still bullish, right, respecting this demand, but what I want to see right now is an MSS, which pretty much, again, the market is going to pull back right there, fail to make a new high and push lower. And this is exactly what we already saw on the 4-hourly. Push, pull back, fail to break a new high and push lower. Okay, so let's see if this is going to happen and if we can have some sells on the DXY. Let me know if you think this is viable this week. Euro USD weekly time frame. Again, this is the first rejection candle, which also looks very bullish. Again, we were traveling to the downside very strongly. I was actually targeting these zones right there. I thought actually it's gonna break below this zone, but it didn't. It just reacted actually from this range that again caused a break of structure. So again, this one, like the DXY, was pretty strong, but you can see this one traveled much further into the zone. But this was because again, the DXY wanted to catch up onto this one, because after EU actually entered the zone, the DXY was still down there. And as you can see right now, the DXY has fully tapped into the zone, into the 50%, and also EU is starting to react. So the question is, oops, can we have a pullback? Again, we have a new range from the high to the low. And what I also see is this very nice weekly candle. Right, this is very strong supply. Why? Because this is pretty much the little pullback that we're going to see on the daily that broke the structure to the downside. And even we can mark it as a major structure, but yeah, well, pretty much you can see that we consolidated, we faked into the highs, we faked into the lows, then we consolidated again, and then we just boom, very sharply impulse to the downside. And we also caused a break of this major lower low right there. And again, guys, we're having exactly the same situation. So it's really interesting to see how both of those, the DXY and EU, are going to play. Because once again, on the weekly, we have a flush. On the daily, we have some structure. And the last pullback is this one, okay, that we're currently reacting. But let's zoom in on the details. This is what I like about zooming on the details and really understanding all the time frames by looking at different time frames. So I understand right now what is happening on the 4-hourly and on the hourly by just looking on the daily. Have a look at this. So this created major structure. We pushed it down, and then this one created a pullback. It was a bullish day, and then we created a lower low. All right. Then what the market did on the next candle, it tries to pull back. Okay, then closes like this right there, and then it impulses to the upside. So if I just show you what this formation looks like, what is it? All right. Let's put it like this, right? So we have a lower high, lower low, the market pulls back, tries to create a lower high, pushes lower, and what it does, creates the MSS formation and actually breaks the most recent lower high, which is pretty much this one right now. So let's drop to the 4H to see if we have something like this. There it is, pullback, lower low, little pullback, failure to make a new lower low, which is, there is your MSS and an impulse. It looks exactly the same of what we drew right now from the daily, all right? And it's a very important skill for you to master. So what do we do right now? Well, as I told you, the market is right now tapping into this daily supply, but I really don't want to do this, but I do expect some buyers to start kicking in on euro, because we definitely have some space for a pullback, but still we're really sitting right now in this daily supply, okay? But once again, as I told you, so pretty much the last supply that I was looking at was this one, because this is like the lower high. Again, understanding on the 4-hourly, how does the lower time frame look like? This wick created a very big pullback, and then a very nice sell-off that caused a break of structure. Then we pull back. This was a lower high at the time. I also think I sold from here. No. Yeah, probably. Yeah, this is actually my profitable trade right here. I sold from right there, but then you can see that the market failed to continue lower and we sharply impulsed into the highs, which according to me is a reversal pattern. What caused the reversal pattern? It's this zone right there. So what we can also immediately do, which is not very confirmed, is we can drop our range like this, and we can expect the market to pull back somewhere right here below the 50%, or maybe even into the 50%, and then continue higher, because I can also see a little zone right there that we can possibly see on the hour. Okay, it's not very clear. Yeah, it's not very clear. Friday's price action was not very nice, but you get the point. Okay, so according to me, again, this supply is going to be the cause for the market to pull back to the downside, and then potentially we can see some upside. But again, guys, don't marry a setup. Don't try to catch the bottom, because this is what we try to do right now, but after having a little bit of confirmation. Okay, we have some breaks of structure right there, but keep in mind, this could also be this. So we have this very strong high, this strong low. We're pulling back right now very nicely above the 50%, and we can just sell off from there, and of course target this weekly level that we have. So also try to be flexible. Take some shorts, take some longs, see which one works out. Let's wait for Monday to open, see how it's gonna go. And even potentially what we can do is we can search for a better level on the hour, which is not very clear. I can only see this one, but it's way too tiny. And if you start having a little bit of a reversal right there on the 15 minute, right? So where is our major high low on the 15 minutes? Yeah, I would say this one, but we also have those little ones right there. So if the 15-minute really starts to fail to break, we can have a short. Okay, so if you have this, we can take a short and then ride it down into this level that we set. Take our profits right there, maybe attempt a long, if we get a long, all right? But if not, then we can follow through to the downside and we're just gonna know that it's going short, okay? So just analyzing the markets on Saturday or Sunday, it's not gonna help you actually flow with the markets as it develops during the week, okay? So this is my outlook for now. Expecting potential sells and then potential buys, or maybe just full sells towards targeting this weekly liquidity. And it depends, of course, on the DXY. So have this analysis and let me show you what I actually did this week to just cover a couple of opportunities. I do think you're going to be learning from them a lot. So let's jump into them. The first trade that I took was on Monday. It was a short trade. Because I was simply expecting the market to drop lower. And after seeing that we were not creating this big pullback, I just continued to follow the momentum. But unfortunately, I got stopped. And then what I said, so let me, where is Monday? Yeah, there is Monday. So let me delete the price right there. So pretty much I had a couple of levels to trade on Monday. Let me maybe also remove the other 2 days. All right, so I had first this level, which was on top of the Asian high, and then if this one didn't work out, I was going to be looking for this one or maybe this one right there. I think this was the next level. And yeah, so my first trade, again, the market tapped inside. I took my short, but then what you can see happened on the 15-minute is this wick right here took me out. It faked the Asian high, and then we had a massive sell-off, man. So I was pretty sad to actually not take another trade, but then I said to myself, okay, cool, well, this level is not going to respond and we're possibly going to be looking for an upper one. So I immediately said, okay, cool, well, let's take a step back. So there's my first trade. Pretty much we entered into the zone. We were creating higher lows and higher highs. We start breaking structure lower, pullback, lower low right there, pullback, lower high, and then a break of structure. So for me, what broke the last structure was this one, this candle. So this is where I took my trade from here. Stop loss above, and bang, oh man, this was a stop loss for a second or something. And then I was potentially looking to see if we can get a re-entry, but it was way too strong. We pushed into the second zone that I was looking to trade from, but then this break was not significant for me, so I did not take any more shorts. And then the market continued to break higher. But suppose what happens again, we were trending into the upside, higher lows, higher highs, higher high, boom, lower low. Lower high, lower low. So at that point, I think I was looking to take some trades, but it was coming into the dead hour, which is when I do not trade, pretty much starting from 12 o'clock right there. But there is pretty much Monday's opportunity. And I was secretly hoping that the market is actually gonna stop out some of the people that were shorting right there, so we can pull back a little bit higher and then catch a very nice short during New York. But pretty much New York opened then and we had a massive drop. So I ended up with a loss on Monday, but of course it's pretty fine. Then going on to Tuesday, I'm not gonna go into great details. I should have done that in my trading setups breakdown video, but let's have a look on the 15-minute, what happens on Tuesday. So after Monday actually created this very nice flush to the downside, on Tuesday, which is also when I did my Tuesday morning outlook, we had 2 levels to trade from. The first one was this one, because this one also broke structure. The second one was the actually kind of the extreme level that also broke structure. Okay, so 2 levels to play from, take 2 of them. Okay, first I took a short from here. I was only left with partials, then stop loss, break even right here, which was the golden opportunity of the day. I missed it right there, so I missed this trade right there, which was a nice short into the lows right there. Then I got into my charts right there and I took another short trade, but this was again, guess what, partials and break even, so quite sad. And then this opportunity developed, which was really nice, but it was 6:30, so I do not trade at that time already. I don't want to stay all day at the charts, right? So if I just show you, there is the first trade. So Frankfurt open and London opened very aggressively with a very sharp spike to the upside. We created a higher low, we created a higher high, very nice wick from the zone that I indicated. So there is the zone on the left and we had a very nice wick into it, indicating a lot of rejection. Then we broke structure to the downside, pullback, lower high formation, very simple. Took the trade from here, stop loss was above, and we pushed into the lows, into demand, and I took a partial at 1 to 3 just to secure something, and then guess what, boom, break even. And I don't take big partials at 1 to 3, I just take some to secure the risk. I also covered my loss from yesterday, so I immediately came out at break even in a little bit of that trade, and yeah, then the rest hit break even. Then we jump into the bigger zone and then we create the same setup, right? They're uptrend, the market creates this kind of big push into the highs and then a very sharp drop into the lows. I wasn't really kind of into the zone at that time, So I was really looking for the market. I actually had a limit right there. I can show I had a limit right here actually, and stop loss above, but this level did not get retested. And then I was just simply seeing how the market shifted from demand to supply. We had a push higher high, higher low. We reacted from demand, but then we flipped to the downside. And I was actually looking to take this trade right there. But I didn't. I hesitated on this one. I kind of missed it. I was about to, but I didn't. And yeah, this was pretty much the opportunity of the day, because then we very nicely flushed to the downside and it actually made a beautiful lower low. So if it was taken from here, stop loss 3.5 pips, it was a nice 8R. And even if you take the stop loss above the structure, it is still a pretty satisfying trade right there. I missed it. And then I just continued to follow the flow. I perceived the market to be bearish. We made this lower low. We pulled back into my new area of supply. And I wasn't at the charts again at this time, because there was this beautiful opportunity. We were just pushing up higher highs, higher high, higher low, pretty much respecting demand right there. But then we shifted the structure to the downside. So there is the first short that could have been taken with a very tight stop loss. And pretty much this one provided a 1 to 5, which is what I usually target. But again, I wasn't at the charts. I came at the charts as the market was down there. And then I saw this quick push into the highs, but then I just waited a little bit and I took my trade from this wick right here. Stop loss was above as well. So this is my second trade for the day. I hope I share the MT4 stats for this one as well. And guess what? On this one, I also took a partial right there, 1 to 3 at this little demand, and the rest hits break even. So yeah, another partial here, partial there. So I was left with a little profit on that day just from this little partial right here. And then the next trade right there, I did not take. So that was Tuesday. On Wednesday, I didn't trade because on Wednesday, we just had this range right there. The London session opened, manipulated, and then we just flushed without a stop, and there wasn't any opportunities to get into, and then the market just did all of that fun stuff, so I decided to not get involved. And on Thursday, it was actually my first profitable trade for fully profitable, which again, it was not a big deal, but I was just so tired of this week, so I just decided to take my full profits and just bank at least something, right? So pretty much again, we were in a downtrend. This was my supply level that I wanted to trade from. We entered the supply in London, but I did not trade it during London. Then we actually went again right here in New York, and I took 2 trades. The first one was a loss and the second one was the win. So there is the first into London. So we tapped into the zone and we started breaking structure, and there were some members of my community that took it from here with a stop loss like that, but it did not follow through to the downside. And I kind of knew that we want to come into to retest the higher zone right there, so I did not take this trade. And then we actually came to retest it, and have a look, after we retested it, we just dropped to the downside. And at that moment, I again perceived 2 entry opportunities. The first one was from right here, because this was also, according to me, a lower high that broke the structure to the downside. So my first trade was taken from right there. Stop loss a little bit above, reacted very nicely, pull back, reacted, and then it stopped us out. Then I was actually ready to strike from here, but it missed my entry. And then as I spotted the break of the last higher low, pull back, lower high, I took a second trade from right there, and this one actually ended up working out, but I just saw it as a big pain to hold through this price action, so I just closed my trade at yeah, I think it was a bit more than 3R, maybe something like this. But yeah, this is basically the trade of Thursday. And then it continued to roll. I was actually going to target the Asian lows, which were pretty much right there, which got tapped for a 5R. But I was so tired of this day, monitoring throughout the day, so I just decided to call it a day. And on Friday, I did not trade because I was traveling. So those are pretty much the trades on EU this week, guys. Hopefully you got something from them, and I really hope actually going right now into the new month and into the new week, EU is gonna behave nicer. Let's have a look at EJ. So pretty much the most important point from last week was that I mentioned this kind of level right there, this kind of very equal lows, and pretty much we took them out, and then after this we saw a very nice reaction. So currently the weekly time frame is in a very strange situation, because it looked like we shifted, it looked like we broke structure to the upside and we were pulling back very nicely, but we just did not hold from this support or demand, and we actually broke it. So right now, I'm not pretty sure what to expect, right? The market keeps dropping, and this is mainly because of USD JPY, which also tumbled this week. But yeah, we did not respect this level. Also, the daily is starting to drop lower. We also close, well, we didn't close, but we wicked below this level. So I pretty much perceive this market to be bearish. And if I have a look on the daily, this was a lower high. It's very tight. It's a lower high on the daily, and right now we potentially might have another one. So let's actually, where did it go? So let's actually analyze on the 4 hourly, this chart, and just stick to the most recent price action, because again, I'm a little bit puzzled, and I just cannot read the overall narrative on the highest time frame. So in this case, we just stick to what we see on the 4 hourly, because the 4 hourly is always going to give us an early sign if we're reversing or if we're just trending. Okay, so pretty much as I told you, this was a lower high. It got respected right there. Then we had a new range from the low to the high. The market very nicely pulled back right there and possibly tapped into, let's see if we have anything on the 8 hour. Well, not really. We just created a pullback, lower high formation right there. And you can see that if I drop on the hourly right now, we also had kind of this minor structure break. There is it on the hour. What does this create? It creates a lower high on the hour, and this is where you potentially take your trade from and target a new lower low. Okay, so after this, what is our new range? Well, it's from this high to this low, and the market has already pulled back. Oh man, this is just some messy price. Okay, well, on EJ I am bearish currently on the 4 hourly, but again, if we look at EU, which is kind of, we think that it might actually go higher. We just actually took everything that was resting below right there, usually sell stops or stop losses or anything for people that were long or for people that are looking to go short right now. So we are gonna have a tricky time on EJ. Okay, so try to wait a little bit. Currently we're bearish. Our main level is this sort of zone right there, because this is the zone that caused the break of structure. As long as we remain below this zone, I'm gonna be bearish. Okay, but I just currently do not see an opportunity, because we kind of pushed, we pulled back, we pushed, we actually broke this low, and then we very sharply moved into the highs. So for me, an opportunity will be if we again pull back into the highs, create a lower high, and then flush lower. But just looking at this sort of price right now, I do not read it very nicely, and it's not something that I'd like to see. So if I was trading EJ, I would give it more time, and I would recommend that you guys do the same. But currently the trade is down, the trend is down, so keep shorting it until we see a break of structure. All right, let's have a look at the Aussies, as always, starting with AU. So again, 4 consecutive weeks of bearishness, and pretty disappointed, because we were actually expecting kind of this break of structure, push, pullback, higher low, higher high, beautiful, another break, potential pullback to continue higher, but we just couldn't make it. And I do believe this is mainly due to the USD strength. And pretty much the money is going outside of the Aussie and pouring into the US dollar. And we can see that it's just gaining more and more momentum to the downside. So pretty much after this one has happened, so if we have actually reacted from this zone, there are 2 things that could happen right now. We can still tap inside it and maybe come to tap it a little bit deeper, maybe into 50% of this zone. And we can still see some reaction. But then the biggest question is it just going to be a reaction to pull back and then flush, or is it just going to react and create a higher high? So this is the biggest question that we have to answer right now. But again, 4 consecutive weeks of bearishness, and you can even see that on here, we don't even have a wick, right? It just keeps going down. And pretty much the first target will right now be this low, which we're possibly about to take beginning of next week. Again, you can see little pushes, little pullbacks, perfectly bearish market structure. Nothing too much to extract from the daily. And also like dropping on the 4 hourly, you can see that from here, we had this lower high formation. This is actually, is this week? Yeah, this is pretty much the opportunity on Monday. And I do think on Monday, actually, it was only AU that created the pullback. So pretty much, guys, if you got into this one, this was a massive, massive, massive trade. And then we just continued to kind of range another break of structure, which created a little zone right there. We didn't fully tap into it. Another push, another pullback, another push. So pretty much we're really, really, really strongly trending to the downside. And if I try to spot where is my last structural point, it's this one. Let's make it red. And so yeah, two things that could happen. I definitely think that the market is actually going to target these lows right there. So the question is, are we going to just open the week and straight flush through the lows? Or are we going to first initiate a little bit of a pullback to create a lower high formation and then to start rolling down? Okay. The hour has already made a little pullback. We're already pushing down. It's already creating the flat lows right there. So I kind of get the feeling that we're just going to smash maybe on market open. So if we do this, then we're going to have a new low, then potentially same story. We have to wait for a pullback and a potential lower low. But yeah, right now the fundamentals are really messy. So it's like right now we're having the new COVID variants as well, and the stock market started to drop. And of course, we have correlation with currencies as well. We can see strong momentum, but again, I do think we might have a little bit of a shift. Like if the DXY starts to fall a little bit right now, and if EU starts to react, then all of those pairs are also gonna react to the upside. But currently, guys, we are bearish on AU, so we keep shorting until we see otherwise. And just make sure to mark your structured zones. There is our 4-hourly high. Boom. As we are still below this one, we keep shorting. And not to say AJ and the JPY pairs, massive flush to the downside. And again, pretty much this one, we're still bullish kind of on the weekly, because again, we shifted right there. We pull back higher low, higher high, currently still pulling back towards a higher low formation. But yes, can we still expect longs on this one? That is the biggest question, which I kind of doubt. Like, look at that candle right there. So we're massively entering into this zone. So it's gonna take some time in order for this market to really reverse. Okay, why? Because right now we have this daily lower high formation, and pretty much as long as the market stays below this one, we are pretty bearish. Okay, if we drop to the 4-hourly, the situation might change, but it does not change a lot because we do not have any minor structure in the 4-hourly except of this one candle, which I do not consider to be anything of significance. And we're just tapping right now inside this big demand. But can we expect a full reversal? No, not really. So guys, again, let's just keep following the trend. Where is our range? Where it starts from the high, goes to the low. What I want to see is a pullback into 50%. If we can do that, because usually as we impulse very strongly like this, the market tends to respect 38.2, and we also have this little guy right there, so make sure to watch out for that as well. Okay, but guys, the Aussies are extremely bearish. I do not want to call any longs on those because they're just extremely flushing to the downside. So let's keep following the trend. Let's wait for pullbacks, and of course, let's see how AJ is going to react from this big demand. AU is also entering into this big demand. We can possibly, if we really kind of try to see what has happened right there in the past, we can try to find some sort of a level. But pretty much, according to me, the level was this one, which we actually, I think, tapped already. Yes, there it is. This is why we had this reaction. So right now, if the market actually continues to break this one, then pretty much this is going to get invalidated, and we can also expect a break of this demand. So again, keep following the trend, keep shorting until we see otherwise. Well, looking into the NZDs, I have nothing too much different to say, except the fact that the Aussie was actually already into demand while the NZD is still traveling towards it. Okay, so we definitely have some downside on this one. And right now we are just about to break below this low, which we thought is actually a low. Higher high, higher low, higher high. So we definitely did not expect those levels to break, but they're just broken right now. So definitely, guys, sells. What I see on the daily is that we have this lower high right there, which looks really good. We had a push, pullback, lower high, lower low, lower high, boom. Sharp break to the downside. And pretty much I'm going to trade a daily range on this one if we decide to actually initiate a pullback. And there is the 4-hourly. So again, what I do is I find the first level that I can trade from above the 50%, which is this little guy right there. And of course, above it is our daily zone. So what I want to see on the NZD is a pullback into the zone, lower high formation, and a continuation down. Okay, that's it. If we continue to trade lower, right now, I'm just going to keep enlarging my range, and then I'm still going to look for the same, for the pullback. Okay, so nothing too much to add to this analysis. We're bearish. The market is going down. Everything is pointing to the downside. Weekly level is about to get broken, which is going to unlock further downside. So keep shorting. Okay. And yeah, NJ as well. It's just already kind of about to break below this. If I take all the wicks, it's already into it, even 50% into it. So that is really strong. So again, we can start seeing some little reaction, which is just going to be a reaction in order for the market to pull back towards its mean value. And again, there is my range from the low to the high. Where is a potential level that I would try to trade from? It's this one. Why? Because this is kind of the last. We had a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Buy, boom, sold off. All right, so this will be a potential area that I'm going to be looking to sell from. And then again, if you really look to take the major level, well, pretty much on the daily, it's not very visible, but this whole zone is where we really started to kind of cook for the move down. Okay, so pretty much once again, pullback, lower high, continuation down. Nothing too much to say. So hopefully, guys, a lot of you capitalize on those short moves on the JPYs. Let me know if you did, but let's see how they're gonna develop in the upcoming weeks and in December as well. After a couple of stop hunts and really trying to confuse traders, are we ready to commit to the downside on UJ? Let's see. Okay, our range right now is this one from the low to the high. It looks like we have tapped into something right now, and we very nicely reacted with a very strong kind of engulfing candle with a huge wick on top. So this is a lot of selling pressure, and actually, to be honest, this just happened on Friday. Okay, so it's just one day that took to engulf a lot of days of price, right? It started from 11th of November, like we tried to push up, and then just one day it ate it all, okay? So right now we're having a structure break on the daily, which is really important. Why? Because this was a higher low, broke structure higher. So if we were bullish, the market should have stayed above and continued to go up, but we just broke below it, okay? Let's try to find a potential area to sell from. Well, yeah, UJ moves in a slightly different manner. All right, so pretty much for me, this whole zone is where we initiated the sells. Like we had this little kind of range manipulation and then a very sharp initiation outside of it. So pretty much this is what I'm going to be looking for. And once again, guys, let's drop our favorite range, which is the 50% range, FIP, whatever you like to drop. And yeah, then potentially I will be looking for the market to get into this side of things right there, because we have tons of empty space to fill right there. So definitely, again, as you can see, the market pushes, it has to pull back, and yeah, pushes, has to pull back right there. This was a big move, so we pretty much also have to pull back to fill all of that empty space as well. But this is a totally different story. So let's see. I am starting to feel like we might actually start dropping on UJ. So according to me, I would be looking for a pullback, lower high formation, and then a drop lower, which is also going to correlate with all the JPYs that we just covered. All of them are extended right now to the downside, created lower lows. So we have to wait for that lower high formation. And if UJ starts with that pullback, it's going to drive all the JPYs also to pull back with it. And then we can potentially have a nice short on all of them. So let's see if this is going to play out. All right, let's have a look at the GBPs and try to make some sense out of them. Of course, starting with GU. So again, this market has been bearish for quite some time. Like we were pushing very strongly to the upside, and then we kind of created this double top, and then from there we started to correct to the downside. It's still, to me, like if I drop on the monthly, looks like a push and a pullback in order to continue higher. But we're going to see this probably in our next weekly outlook and setups, where we're going to have the monthly closure eventually. So we can also have a look at that as well. The weekly range I kept defining, this is the weekly range. I kept showing it like this, potentially to wait for a pullback. And right now it keeps enlarging like that. And pretty much the area that is of significance is this big wick, which is possibly a daily zone. But this daily zone pretty much got retested right now. And if you have a look, if we ignore the weekly for a second, we had a push, pullback, lower high. So this pullback was initiated from this little guy. So all of us were looking for buys at that time, but the market just failed. And as soon as we failed the first demand, we are bound to actually go lower. So for all of you that looked for buys right there, you had a pullback. There is the follow through to the downside, okay? And pretty much the market respected this little guy, tapped inside, lower low. And this week we had this one, tapped inside, lower low on the daily, okay? So even if we further refine this, where is our last break of structure? It's right here. What caused that break of structure? It's this level, okay? So there is our simple analysis. There is our range as well. So what I want to see is, once again, a pullback. Again, for how long is GU going to drop to the downside? Well, yeah, as long as it does, right? Usually what GU loves to do, it loves to give very deep pullbacks. And yeah, you can see this everywhere. So if you drop a 50% range on GU, it tends to go much higher, okay? So pretty much if I zoom in on the 4 hourly right now, I do not love this price. I'm gonna tell you why, because it's very corrective. Like push, little correction, correction. It's not this, a strong move to the downside and a corrective pullback in order to take a nice short. But right now on the move down, we're moving correctively, okay, which can actually later result in an expansion to the upside, okay? But currently, the structure on GU is down, so we are focused on shorts. What are some potential areas that we can look for shorts? Well, something above the 50%, of course. The first level that I see is this kind of zone right there, which pretty much merges with this one right there. Yeah, I will take it something like this. Okay, so pretty much right now what you can do is you can start looking for longs, which is slightly a bit aggressive. And if you drop to the hour, and if you find where is your last lower high on the hour, it was this one right there. The market actually created the low, it broke above, pulled back and broke above again. So we can already start looking for longs going into next week, and we can potentially look for levels like this potentially, but this is not something that I want to do. Okay, but currently, like, yeah, if we really have to see if this is going to be the lower low, so we can start taking some longs, which we can have on Monday. And then potentially if we have the pullback onto Wednesday, then we can potentially see a further sell-off on GU, if of course the DXY provides for it as well. Okay, so this is my simple analysis on GU. We did not pay too much attention on the daily and on the weekly and the daily, because yeah, it's simply we cannot gather a lot of information. But if you have a look, actually this one is a weekly lower high, and also exactly at the 50% we have a retest of this wick right there, which is something that has to be retested. Well, not has to be, this is the wrong language to use, but let's anticipate that it's actually gonna retest. So let's see if we're gonna have a pullback and a potential shorting opportunity. GJ, I hope you actually watched my previous analysis. It played out to perfection. It was a very nice short opportunity on this one. Yeah, pretty much we had this whole range right there that we could have looked for shorts. The market tapped inside, and then on the hourly, we changed the structure, as I told you. So there is your structure change. There is the shift right here, and there is the break. And also we had a break right here that introduced a lot of sellers. And what I told you at that time is we can look for sells from this zone. We came beautifully inside. And if you also drop to the hour, you can see numerous opportunities on this one. There is your first tap, break of structure, first opportunity, push, second opportunity, push, third opportunity right there. And then we drop to the downside. So hopefully some of you managed to capitalize on GJ shorts. As for the current situation, once again, we are massively trading to the downside. So I don't want to really look on the left right now, because you can look on the left. All right, the demand, we're going up. No, follow the current momentum. And if this is really going to be demand, you're going to see a shift of structure, and then you're going to go long. Okay, so don't try to look too much on the left. What I always tell my students is focus from the right to the left. Why? Because you're going to start from here. What is the market doing right now? It's pushing down. What do we want to do is we want to continue with that momentum. Where did the momentum start from? From right here. Where do we want to sell from? From the high. So we want to buy high, buy high. Wow, this was so wrong. We want to buy low and sell high, or sell high and buy low. Okay. So pretty much once again, what I expect on GJ is another pullback, preferably above 50% to create a lower high and then to continue going lower. And as I said, all the JPYs right now are gonna follow UJ. So if UJ initiates a pullback to the upside, AJ, EJ, NJ, and GJ are gonna also initiate a pullback up, lower high formation, and then we can drop safely from there. Okay, so this is my simple analysis. We keep following the flow. Again, use your strategies as well to judge when a pullback is over, and then we continue to drop to the downside. And GA, what I pretty much had on GA is bullish bias, but I was looking for a deeper pullback on this one as far as I remember, but the market just consolidated and kept moving into the highs. So pretty much what we have right now is a brand new range. So I'm not going to take the lower one. I'm going to take the brand new one like this, because again, this was a push, this was a pullback, and then we sharply exited outside. I would mark this as my major high low formation. And if the market decides to pretty much pull back into the zone, or maybe to create a higher low formation, I am going to be looking for longs. So this is GA, very, very, very simple. And again, don't listen to me about this pair. I just never get it right, and it's not a pair that I traded. I'm not sure if I have even traded this in my life. Yeah, possibly I did in my beginning years, but yeah. Euro GBP, This one is a tough pair right now to analyze. So we had a push to the downside. This was a weekly lower low. And what I mentioned last time is that we want to see some sort of a break right there. And we pretty much had the break on Friday. So all week it was consolidating and we just decided to break on Friday. And again, pretty much I am still bearish on the highest time frames on this one. And currently, like, the weekly is already in this pullback phase. We're tapping into 50%. The first area to look for shorts is this one. So pretty much I kept the analysis the same on this one because I don't see any change. This one is still our break of structure, which is on the higher time frame. And yes, we're pulling back right now into this premium zone. So let's see if we can have any shorts on Euro GBP. Maybe a little bit of a push to the upside, and then we can target the lows, which we build it up as a very flat lows, which is really nice to see. Okay, so guys, it's not an entirely perfect situation. I am looking for shorts on all GBPs except for GA, because this one is a different story, this one. But yes, GU, I'm still short, although I'm a little bit worried about the corrective nature of price to the downside. GJ is definitely short, with the very strong JPY that is going on right now. GA longs, this is because of the weak AU, and Euro GBP is looking like shorts as well. The Euro strength actually pushed this very high to the upside, so let's see how this one is going to respond as well. Okay, so guys, again, stay tuned for my Tuesday morning outlook on Telegram. We were going to have a look at a detailed price action once again and to see how Monday has opened. Let's have a quick look on gold to see what is happening with this guy right there. So still in this weekly push that caused the break of structure, but we immediately encountered supply right there. And right now we are pulling back. The weekly candle is really bearish, but this bearishness was pretty much caused on Monday. On Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we just kind of kept consolidating inside this whole demand area right there. And this was pretty much my outlook from Tuesday. I wanted to see the market consolidate and then start breaking structure a little bit for potentially to initiate this pullback. But what we had is it kind of gave us a little bit of a sign, but then it just dropped very sharply to the downside. Okay. So guys, I'm going to be extremely honest with you right now. I don't know what's happening with gold. I have no bias and I have no expectations. Usually we would refer also to fundamentals and how the situation is looking like. DXY could start to potentially initiate this pullback, as we said, which is going to give some bullishness on gold. But are we going to go for a hard high? So again, gold is the new, gold is usually an inflation hedge, but the new inflation hedge is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin also fell a little bit for Black Friday, so hopefully you got something there as well. But yes, my analysis still remains the same. I'm really looking to see how this whole demand that starts from 1800s and ends at 1760 is gonna respond. Okay. Currently, like, this push to the upside does not tell me anything. Like, we just faked above this zone and then we just dropped to the downside further again. So I need to see new structure. If this is a push lower, I need to see a break higher, pullback, and then potentially a long. And if we just continue to break lower, then we continue to break lower and we keep shorting. Okay, so guys, let me know what is your thoughts on gold. I'm telling you right now, I don't know what to expect. We're stuck between weekly supply, the daily starting to look bullish, and pretty much we're kind of been ranging for some time right there. And yeah. Let's see, only time will show us on this one. And as I told you, currently with the situation that is we are in right now, it is very hard to actually judge. So let's see. Finally, we see some declines across the indices as well, which is very, very good. I'm already buying, so very nice. But again, the stock portfolios are going to be having a little bit of a drawdown right now, which is not very good to see because we had all-time highs for quite some weeks. And right now, this pullback is eating all the gains, but that is pretty normal. So US 30 already pulled back below 50% and it's already tapping into my buy area, guys. And what I mentioned also on Tuesday was that we were breaking structure to the downside, and this was my breakdown. I wanted to see a new lower low, a pullback, lower high, and then a flush. And pretty much this was really good. So I really hope some of you guys managed to catch this one. It was forecasted very nicely and we collected all of that liquidity right there. So right now we have already tapped into a buy zone. So we can get ready if you're not getting into a market crash. All right, with the new corona stuff, with the new measures, the stock market is reacting as well. Banks are flushing down as well. There has been a disturbance in the interest rates as well. So a lot of things are on the line, a lot of things. All right, so let's see how we're going to respond from this buy zone. For me, this is already a great buying opportunity on this index, which is a drop of 5%. And usually you can see a pullback is around 5% here. From here to there is 5% as well. So this one is a golden opportunity, guys. So do not miss it out and make sure to put some money in. Okay. But personally, I'm going to be looking for how the market gets in there. If you're going to slow down, start breaking some structure, and then to see if we're going to have a reaction or if we're just going to keep flushing. According to me, this is a end of the month sell-off to potentially bank some profits to correct the market. And of course, all the problems with Corona are coming exactly at the right time when the big guys have to take some profits and potentially correct the market, right? Nasdaq, on the other hand, we are still we stayed really above the demand. We tapped inside, we tapped second time, it tries to break, but right now we're failing. So I really think that this one is actually going to target the lows right now, and this demand is going to get invalidated, so we can really give a proper pullback also on those 100 stocks, all right, which are actually the ones that really remain strong, but they're also starting to kind of fail a little bit right now. So definitely we can expect further downside on Nasdaq as well. If we break below this level, another short opportunity could come in, so we can take it even further. Okay, I really don't want to become a seller on indices, but this is what we see right now. And the US 30 is already down, Nasdaq is trying to follow, and also S&P. Very good to see, right? As I told you, this was the last demand that was holding price. We pushed into the highs, and I told you if we break below this one, this is gonna unlock a lot of downside. So pretty much we can right now target all of this flat pricing right there, target the 50%, and even see it go further lower. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing right now. Look at that beautiful bearish engulfing candle. So my only hope is that we can continue dropping lower. Right now, I'm gonna start doing dollar cost averaging right now into next month, which is pretty close because I have invested a lot this month, actually more than I should, in some individual companies as well. And if you're interested in such investments as well, make sure to let me know because I'm gonna start developing more about that as well very, very soon. Okay, so S&P seeing further downside. Let's see if we're gonna get it. As for any pullbacks, well, definitely you can trade the pullback, but make sure that you wait for some proper structure first. Okay, so let's wait for a new lower high, lower low, and then as we pull back, then we can definitely short it. And let's see how it's gonna open. I'm gonna give you an update on Tuesday on this one. And Bitcoin, so I bought some Bitcoin at 56 at the downside right there. Looked good, pushed into supply, failed, pushed into supply again, and then we just dropped again. Black Friday discount. We have officially tapped into 50%, which is a golden buying area. And again, as it keeps dropping lower around 50K, this will be even better. Okay, so let's see. Weekly pullback right now initiating on Bitcoin. That is really good to see. So far, we are moving in a bearish manner. And we also have a new daily level created, which is very, very strong. So this one is actually going to hold price a lot right now because we caused a very strong daily break of structure. There it is. And right now we can expect another correction into 58 and another flush to the downside. Okay, so let's see how this is going to work out. Yeah, keep stacking Bitcoin. There is a future, so let's see. And also Ethereum, I haven't bought Ethereum still, which is my second biggest holding after Bitcoin in crypto, because I'm not really a crypto guy and I trade only and invest only in those majors. I know a lot of you are fans on the minor coins, what they're called, altcoins. So make sure to throw me a few signals, guys. Let me know what I should look at, please. I was looking at Mana. What was it called? With the yeah, I'm not really sure, but it was supposed to be like a token for the new metaverse. So if any of you have any information on that, send it over to me. All right. But also Ethereum, after pushing into the highs, we thought we were going for a new higher high. We just sharply dropped to the downside, making a new lower low right there. So I'm really curious to see if this one is actually going to be a continuation right now to the downside. If we're going to pull back, lower high, and if we're actually going to create a very nice, bigger daily and weekly pullback. We still have 50%, so my buying is going to initiate as soon as we tap like 38. Right here, I'm going to start initiating buying, and then as it drops more, we buy even more. Okay. So this is my outlook on the crypto and the indices. Very interesting times are ahead of us right now. Let's see how December is going to go, end of the year as well. And yeah, hopefully guys, you enjoyed this weekly outlook. If you did, as always, let me know down in the comments, hit the like button and make sure you are subscribed. Stay tuned for my Tuesday outlook and setups on Telegram. The link is down in the description. And if you're watching this over the weekend, I wish you an amazing and relaxing weekend and a crushing week ahead of you, and see you on Tuesday.